Now, this session tonight will mainly focus on taxes. In particular, how do taxes in Malaysia work? Okay, this is specifically catered towards those people who are very new to taxes, or if you've been paying taxes for your first year, second year, you don't really understand how it is calculated, you don't really know where you fall in a tax bracket, then you might want to pay attention to the first part of the session itself. Then we'll head on over to, is PRS worth it? I think this is one of the questions that has been asked by quite a lot of you guys also. Right? Because first of all, you want to maximize your tax reliefs, but you're not very sure is investing in this private retirement scheme really worth it for my tax reliefs or not. So we'll really dive deep into this part itself and analyze at the end of the day whether it's worth to put your money. And lastly, what if you failed to claim your eMadani credits? Okay, recently the government decided to give us each 100 ringgit cash boost if your annual income is 100,000 ringgit and below. But quite a few people are struggling to claim these credits. So we will discuss the criteria in the later part of this session. Okay, as usual, not financial or legal advice. So this is one of the questions that has been asked by you guys. It's actually quite a fantastic question. And a lot of people do not understand how taxes in Malaysia work. And by the way, if you guys want to send us any anonymous questions, just head on over to our link tree. That link is in our bio. You'll be able to see the tab, send us anonymous questions, and you guys can send us anything. There are no stupid questions. And if they are good questions, I will discuss about them like what we are doing here today. So here's the question. I'm so confused on taxes. Like, if I earn 47,000 ringgit per year, do I get taxed 6%? How does it work? Well, the short answer to it is no. You won't be taxed 6% on your entire amount. But that's because taxes in Malaysia are progressive. Now, this means that you will gradually pay more as your income increases. So let me give you an example. This is the latest tax table provided by LHDN. And your annual income is 47,000 ringgit per year. So your first 5,000 ringgit is actually tax-free. The government won't tax you on your first 5,000 ringgit, which is why you see a zero over here. And then your next 15,000 ringgit, you will incur a 1% tax, which is 150 ringgit, followed by your following 15,000 ringgit that increases to a 3% tax rate, which adds up to 450 ringgit. And finally, your remaining 12,000 ringgit will be subjected to a 6% tax. Okay, that adds up to 720 ringgit. So now, you add up these four figures together and you will get your total taxes, which is 1,320 ringgit. And some of you in the audience might be wondering, hey, this is totally illegal, you did not factor in tax reliefs. But stay with me here. I want to keep this as simple as possible. So that's why I started with no tax reliefs first. Okay, so bear in mind, this calculation is without any tax reliefs. Now, let's assume that this year itself, you managed to get a juicy tax relief of 12,000 ringgit, including your voluntary, mandatory EPF contributions, and the government provides you a 9,000 ringgit tax relief, and it all adds up to this figure over here. And in this case, all you need to do is deduct your gross income, and at the end of the day, your total income tax that you're supposed to pay after the tax reliefs is 600 ringgit. So notice that the 12,000 ringgit here is completely tax-free. Okay, this is why maxing out your tax relief is a very good option, because you'll be able to deduct your total gross income and then you'll be able to fall to a lower tax bracket. And at the end of the day, save much more money. Okay, in this case itself, because you fall under the 35,000 ringgit tax bracket, you save actually 720 ringgit in taxes. So after factoring in your tax reliefs, your total taxes is 600 ringgit. And to add on to that, just a bit of bonus, if your chargeable annual income does not exceed 35,000 ringgit, the government actually will give you a rebate of 400 ringgit. So in this case, the final tax that you're supposed to pay is 600 minus the 400 ringgit rebate, that's only 200 ringgit. And compared to your total gross income of 47,000 ringgit, is roughly 0.2 to 0.3%. Okay, so now, just a quick note over here, gross income, it's safe to include all sources of income, except those that are exempted from tax. I didn't include it in the presentation today, so just a quick one. exempted from tax is the most notable one being interest earned from fixed deposits. Those you can completely omit when you file your taxes, as well as the dividends you earn from shares. Let's say you bought Maybank shares and you received their dividend. That dividend is exempted from tax. But other than that, you should generally report all your sources of income. These include your basic salary. That's the first one. Next one is bonuses. Don't forget about that. Third one being, let's say you do any side hustles, any side jobs. You work as a waiter/waitress part-time. You earn an additional 500 ringgit per month. That should actually go towards your total income as well. So hopefully this will give you roughly a good idea on how taxes work and quell some doubts on whether you'll be taxed 6% if your annual income is 47,000 ringgit. So with that out of the way, now let's move on over to PRS. This one is a lot of questions have been asked by you guys because Versa has been advertising a lot about PRS recently. If you're using Versa, you totally will know. I personally, I received, 10 to 12 notifications, 6 to 8 emails in the past, 7 to 8 weeks. It's getting a bit quite annoying. But that's because Versa is allowing users to earn 12% per annum on Versa Cash if you deposit 3,000 ringgit into their PRS between 1st to 28th of December. And then they also, to encourage you to invest in PRS, they also show you how much savings you will incur. So let's say after you calculate your chargeable income already, you factor in your 3,000 ringgit that you put in Versa PRS, here's how much you will save. Your output, let's say your tax bracket is 3%, you will save 90 ringgit from your contribution to PRS to Versa, right? And that's equivalent to 45 nasi lemak, Assuming that each nasi lemak is 2 ringgit. Now, I'm not going to argue how you're going to find a 2 ringgit like nasi lemak in KL these days, but it's getting a bit difficult. But the point here being is that you will receive quite a juicy tax relief if you were to contribute to Versa's PRS, and on top of that, receive a 12% net return on Versa Cash on your first 10,000 ringgit. But here's the dark side, right? So benefits aside, here's the dark side. We must actually understand what PRS is. For those who are new, PRS stands for Private Retirement Scheme. It's in a way pretty similar to EPF, but there are also a bit of differences. Well, first of all, the contribution to PRS is entirely voluntary, but EPF is mandatory for employees and employers, and at the same time, you can also contribute to EPF voluntarily, right? The second one, this is the most important thing. There are no guaranteed returns in PRS. Whereas EPF, they are by law required to guarantee a minimum return of 2.5% per year. And fortunately, in the past 10 to 14 years, they've managed to net a return of 6% annually. But in the case of PRS, right, if these funds that you choose, let's say you invest in PRS via Public Bank or perhaps Maybank, a lot of banks are offering PRS these days, and these funds underperform, and some years they can actually have a negative performance, you will actually lose money. So the next one is tax relief, 3,000 ringgit. That one we talked about it already. EPF, the initial 4,000 ringgit tax relief, this one, the majority of you is guaranteed to get it already. As long as you are above the minimum wage, then you're most guaranteed to receive the 4,000 ringgit tax relief. And on top of this initial 4K tax relief, there is an additional 3,000 ringgit relief for voluntary contributions. Now, this table is a bit outdated. So it makes a lot of sense to voluntarily contribute to EPF right now, because right now they add on another 3,000 ringgit tax relief. Now, withdrawal age, both also 55. But here comes another ticker, another downside of PRS, right? There is a sales charge up to 3%, annual management fees up to 5%, and there are plethora of other fees as well. So if you're investing in PRS, you want to make sure you check all those fees, because at the end of the day, they will eat into your profits. Whereas EPF, there is nothing at all. There's no upfront costs. There is no management fees. You get what you see. If EPF's dividend is 6%, you have 100,000 in your EPF account, then you receive 6,000 ringgit flat. So Shoutout compliant, yeah, but it depends on which type of unit trust you are selecting, where it comes from. And in the case of Versa's PRS, right, those benefits aside that I mentioned just now, it can seem like a good decision to invest in it just for the tax relief. But you must understand that Versa's PRS, the funds, they perform mediocre at best. So you take a look at this, the conservative fund, the 10-year annualized return is 2.8% only. So this is barely keeping up with inflation. Okay? And we're not even talking about fees yet. There's no sales fee, which is one of the selling points that they always tell you. But there is a management fee of 1.3%. There is a trustee fee of 0.04%. There is the annual PPA fee, which if you make contributions, then this will apply. So at the end of the day, you got to weigh your pros and cons over here. Okay? Definitely maxing out your tax relief is a good option. But if you want to contribute more than that, and you're looking at the history of PRS performance, and some years they perform at a negative rate, right? Then it may actually make more sense to also max out your EPF, right? So personally, in my opinion, what I will do first is to max out my voluntary contribution to EPF. Then if I'm looking for more tax release, I will contribute to PRS a maximum 3,000 ringgit just to get more tax relief. Anyway, let's move on. Talking about Versa, right? Their 4.3% Versa Cash / Versa Cash I promotion, that has come to an end. Now it has reverted back to 4.0%. So this promotional 4.0% return is after fees. It's net rate, already deducted management fee and trustee fee, which means you get 4% flat. You deposit 10,000 ringgit today, you get 400 ringgit in 1 year. And just a small cheat code over here. If you're not too particular about Sharia compliance, you can actually deposit into both products, Versa Cash and Versa Cash I, and subsequently earn 4% per annum for these two products. Okay, so let's say today you have 60,000 ringgit. You can split them equally between Versa Cash and Versa Cash I and get 4% per annum for your entire sum, which is 60,000 ringgit. And any balance above 30,000 ringgit in Versa Cash or Versa Cash I, you will earn the base return rate of the fund itself, which for Versa Cash is about 3.9% in November, and Versa Cash I is 3.36%. So now that we look at Versa Cash reduced return rate already, let's take a look at how it compares to other cash apps, because you want to know whether, is it still competitive rates or not? Well, honestly, it still is. Okay. Rise is right now still the highest, but I'm not going to elaborate too much on Rise because there's a lot of problems recently. Many users are struggling to withdraw their funds, deposit their funds, payouts are not on time. So at the end of the day, use Rise at your own risk. Okay. Versa Cash, 4% per annum, 1 to 2 business days, deposit withdrawals, payouts every day. KDI Safe, it's the next highest one, also 4% per annum for the first 50,000 ringgit. But I tried the app itself, the layout is a bit too complicated, so I decided not to use it. StashAway simple, 3.8% per annum, but this is projected. So meaning, if by the end of the year, the 3.8% doesn't add up, it's not their fault because they already indicated that it's projected. And the last one, this one is the most famous. I'm sure the majority of you are using it right now. Touch and Go Plus, 3.45%, maximum deposit limit of 9,500 ringgit. You can deposit, withdraw instantly. Right, so that's a bit about cash apps and Versa and PRS, etc. Now let's talk about eMadani, which is the government's cash boost. Some of you guys may have been struggling to claim this 100 ringgit bonus. Well, that's likely because you didn't file your income tax this year. To be clear, first of all, you need to be a Malaysian. This one goes without saying. Next one, you must be 21 years or older. And finally, earn an annual income of 100,000 ringgit or below, based on LHDN's record as of 15th July. So some people may have overlooked this part because it's not your annual income. It's your annual income based on LHDN's record. If you did not file your taxes before this period, that may just be why you did not manage to receive the 100 ringgit cash boost. Okay, as for those people who are nearing retirement or have retired already, same thing applies. If you did not report your taxes, did not file your income tax, that may be why eMadani you didn't manage to apply. Okay, and just FYI, if you earn an annual income of more than 34,000 ringgit, not filing taxes is an offence. Okay, LHDN, first of all, they could jail you not more than 6 months and then fine you up to 20,000 ringgit, in addition to the late interest payments up to 45%. So don't evade tax, guys. Make sure you pay your fair share of taxes. And just good news over here, for those of you guys who have underdeclared your income, or maybe let's say you're new to taxes and last year you earned 37,000 ringgit or 36,000 ringgit, but you did not manage to file your tax. Well, the good news is LHDN is allowing you guys to step up and report your taxes, and they will close both eyes. No penalties, no charges incurred. Okay, you just need to search for this SVDP, follow the process to apply, and then after that, you'll be able to declare your undeclared income or underdeclared income. So yeah, thank you to all our supporters, Andrew, Wendy, Edward, Alex, CC, Irshad, Caveman Balls, Calvin, Kai, Tommy, Jin Kang, Adrian, JS Wenyan, Dean, Duhan, Faris, Alan, Jackson, Raizan, Hudson G, Jeffrey, Lawrence, and Lukman, as well as all of our learner members. Okay, so I think we got a question from Veronica. Hey, it's a stupid question. Hey, there's no such thing as a stupid question. It's better to ask it and to clarify than being confused about it and then after that, make a mistake. So I pay EPF voluntary contribution 3,000 ringgit and then submit the receipts during the income tax filing season. Well, actually, when you file your taxes, you don't need to submit any receipts. You just need to declare what reliefs that you are expected to receive or have received, and then keep those receipts in case you get audited. Okay, so you can actually fill in all of those tax reliefs and receive all of those tax relief. But when LHDN comes and asks you whether you have proof or not, then you have to provide those receipts. Okay, so just make sure you keep your receipts, and when you file your taxes, you can just say that you have voluntarily contributed 3K to EPF and then just deduct it. It will automatically deduct from your total taxable income. I've been asking about this because I have PRS and it's been performing poorly. Yeah. Now, this has been a lot of complaints from many people. Okay, many people have been asking me, hey, is it still worth it to invest in PRS or not? Every year I max out 3,000 ringgit, but I seem to be losing money. Yeah, that's the case lah. So right now, perhaps the better option is to just max out your EPF first, because EPF right now is providing 3,000 ringgit tax relief. This one is recently announced by them. And then if you want further tax relief on top of your initial 3,000 ringgit, right, then you can go for PRS. But on top of that, if you want to contribute more to PRS, it doesn't really make sense because these funds, they tend to underperform. I did it for tax relief, so I've been thinking of switching to EPF. Yeah, I think personally that makes a bit more sense because we did a comparison of PRS on EPF just now. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Good night. Stay safe.